Well, good morning ladies and gentlemen, how are we all doing? Welcome to the Isle of Man in November. It's nice and sunny as always. Basically, this time of year normally we'd be at Motorcycle Live, but obviously with everything that's going on, that's not going to happen this year. So we're just putting a little bit of an onboard lap here to get today, because ultimately if you're at Motorcycle Live, this is what you'll be doing, watching me doing a lap for the TT. Basically, my job now with the TT is to teach all the newcomers. And so today, you're going to be my newcomer. We're going to go into a lot more depth with this now, because obviously we've got the time, we've got the space. So I'm going to show you a little bit more than what we'd normally do. Normally you just whiz you around on a lap, scare you senseless, and you go home, hopefully smiling. But today we're going to show you why I'm doing it, and the little bit more of the secrets into the job for the newcomers. So it's a little bit different again. It's going to be pretty full on as well, as always. And yeah, so hopefully you'll enjoy it. Well then folks, so the TT course, everyone sees it, sees the bikes running past, thinks, yeah, that looks easy, I can do that. Believe me, you can't. It takes years and years and years and years of practice and hard work to get to a stage where you're seeing John, Peter Hickman going as fast as they do, okay? So you have to put the work in, you have to put the effort in, you have to put the learning in. It's all about course knowledge. You have to know what you're approaching before you tip up to 190 miles an hour corner. You need to know what's around that next corner, okay? So if you were the cleverest man in the world, you wouldn't be able to take all the information in one hit, okay? So you have to break the circuit down into different sectors. Well, that's what I recommend you do. So when I have all my newcomers over in the winter, in Novembers and Decembers now, this time of year, I'll literally be sat in the car and I'll be saying to the lads, look, you need to break the circuit down. And when they go home then, back to the bedsit or wherever they're living in the caravan, that they're learning the circuit on their laptop, they can break the sectors down. So I have roughly about 6 sectors on the circuit, not too many and not too few. Basically the sectors are there to help me try and take the information in and store it in my brain. So if I set off from the grandstand, by the time I got to Kirkmichael towards Sulby, it's that fast and intense and you know, so full on. I'm just arriving at the corners, I'm not thinking about what I'm doing because I'm scared, basically. I'm scared and my brain is overworked. So I have to basically stay nice, cool and calm and always think about what's coming. What's next? What's next? What's next? As long as I'm approaching the corner and asking myself and questioning myself what's around the next corner, I'm ready and prepared for it. It's when I run into a corner and think, I don't know what's there, but I'm going to keep the throttle on. That's when you're in big problems, okay? So you can't ride the circuit like that. You can't ride it like a short circuit and just rush into the corner and think, yeah, I'll sort it out when the corner opens up, because sometimes the corner doesn't open up. The first sector effectively is from the grandstand to Ballacrane. That's just over 7 miles. So that's 7 miles at 190 miles an hour. It's all 5th, 6th gear stuff, so it's all full on straight away. Remember also at the TT, there is no warm-up lap. It's the only race in the world where you don't have a warm-up lap. Okay, so you are literally going from 0 to 175 miles an hour in 10 seconds through the top of Bray Hill. Your brain's not warmed up either. The bike's not warmed up. The suspension fluid's nice and thick. It doesn't move the way it should do, like through the middle of the race. The tyres are cold. Even though they've been on warmers, they've still lost a bit of temperature. But again, like I say, the most important thing is your brain's not warmed up. Your brain's not up to speed. You drove to the paddock 3 hours earlier at 25, 30 miles an hour in the traffic. You sat around your caravan, put your leathers on, and the next thing is, bang, you're doing 175 miles an hour. So your brain needs to warm up also. So it's really, really hard, this first sector for that. You've probably heard the lads before saying, I need to settle in, I need to settle in, I need to settle in, and that's basically what it is. You just need to get your brain up to speed and go for it. Yeah, okay, right, so here we go. Oh, there's me, look. There's me with my shorts. I've got my legs out, look, it must be a summer's day. Yeah, so this is it. I'm just leading up now into the dead zone, effectively, where no one else can be. So I've left me mechanics, I've left my girlfriend, all the boys there. I've left them now, and I'm going now into there's no way back now. I can't pull out here. That's it, I'm going for it. So I'm just wheeling up towards the start line. I'm getting ready. Obviously my nerves my stomach's in a complete knot now, and all I'm trying to say is stay nice and relaxed. All I'm trying to do is stay nice and relaxed. Try not to get too worked up. I know that the person in front of me, that's who I'm aiming for. That's the one person I've got to try and get, is the person directly in front of me. He's my gauge. That tells me how fast I'm going, how good I'm going, and that's also the carrot. You know, that's the carrot that I've got to try and chase. Okay, so I'm just trying to stay relaxed again. I don't look at anybody. I just try and keep focused. That's for me anyway. Just try and keep focused, thinking, right, come on, let's get this job done. Let's get this job done. Let's just try and concentrate. Think. Try and stay nice and relaxed. Big deep breaths. Trying to get my heart rate down. Come on. Okay, let's go. And I get drawn up to the line then, and that's it, right, okay, so just make sure I don't stall it. I don't want to stall it. I don't want to make a look like an idiot in front of everybody. I build the revs. Don't want to cut the clutch either as well. Just disengage the clutch. Don't ride the clutch. Just get it disengaged and get up through the gearbox. Up to top gear as fast as I can. So here we go. Second, third, fourth, fifth. I'm just clicking 6th gears and of course coming through the top of St Ninians here now, looking for the Christmas tree, watch the curb on the right hand side of the road, don't go over too early, it's really bumpy here now, the bike's heavy, it's starting to move around through the bottom of Bray Hill, big compression there, nice little wheelie just here, lands, again another wheelie just here, again, there we go, braking now at the White House, there's my braking point, braking there, down a gear, back on the throttle, over the bump, braking hard now into quarter bridge, oh my God, it's so easy to fall off here, first corner again, I just have to just wobble around it, just be gentle, you can see Peter's just missed the apex, ever so slightly there, get the thing upright, and back up through the gearbox. Come on, settle down. Back up through another gear here now, up towards my first left-hand bend on the circuit, okay? So I'm braking hard, down. So the left-hand side of the tyre's cold, so I don't override it, so I just feel what it's doing, feel it over, back on the throttle again now. Get that upright and back on through the power, really hard now. Get the thing spinning up on the exit, back up through the gearbox. Come on, let's go. Elbows in, knees in, toes in. Come on, my tyres are still cold, so I still can't attack this one, so I'm just going through the top of Snugborough just here, a little bit of a wheelie just there, braking now, just slow it down, get underneath the wall, pull over to the left, off the throttle, climb over the bike and back on the throttle again. Watch the bump just there, there's a bump just there also, there's a bump just there. Okay, the whole bike's just moving around, into the wall, into the curb, and back up through. Elbows in, knees in, toes in, up now the Ballahutchin. Here we go, a little bit of a wheelie just there, here we go again, a little bit of a wheelie just there, a little bit as well. We run up now towards the Ballagary. Now Ballagary is the most important corner on the circuit, okay, because the straight is so long afterwards. But look at it, it's so fast. Look, into a big compression just here, down a gear, look for the white line on the inside, there it is, back on the throttle, driving it back up through. Back up to top gear here now, a little bit of a wheelie, there we go. Elbows in, knees in, toes in. I'm looking now in the distance. If I can see someone in front of me, 10 seconds in front, I know I've done a good job. I can't see him just yet though, so I'm a bit slack. Okay, so through DJs here now, underneath the wall, out to the pavement on the right hand side of the road, over now towards the post office on the left, in down towards the telegraph pole, over now into the right into this one. Oh my God, look at this one. It's like the end of the world. Oh, she goes over the dump. It's terrible, that one. That for me was a real big opener, that one. From the run down now into towards Greeba Castle. Here we go into Greeba Castle. Down a couple of gears here now. Just looking at the White House. As soon as I see the White House, there's my braking point. Over to the pavement on the right hand side of the road, over to the mirror, back into the left. Transfer over, be nice and gentle here now. Watch this negative camber, it's so easy to spin up just there on the exit if you're too aggressive. Short shift it now to Appledene, over to the right hand side of the road, watch that pavement sticks out a little bit, watch some transfer, climb over the bike, back on the throttle, out to the two dogs, back underneath the pavement, back out to the telegraph pole. There she is, braking now into Greeba Bridge. Okay, watch this one here, slow it down. Two traps, the wall on the inside and the bump just there. I've crashed just there actually, and the bike ended up just there. Okay, so here we go, now down towards Gorsley. This one's super fast. This is a 3-year corner, this one. Look at it, it's super fast, into there, out on the exit. Oh, that takes, again, 3 years to get that one right. Okay, from the run down now in towards this one here, into Ballacrane. Braking now at the two trees, no later than the two trees, you'll not get stopped. Braking, off the brakes and back on the throttle and drive it up now, up towards Ballaspur, up to my corner. Okay, so that's the first sector done. That's from start line through to Ballacrane, okay? So that's approximately 7.5 miles. So as you can see there, it's full on. It's absolutely full on, super fast. 190, 195 miles an hour everywhere, pretty much. All 5th, 6th gear stuff. There's only a couple little corners, like obviously Quarter Bridge, Braddon Bridge to start with, that we were quite just wobbling around effectively. And you see, you have to take it easy again. That full fuel load as well. You've got 24 litres of fuel between your legs. And that's a big problem on the TT course. On a short circuit race, you start with a full fuel load. As the race goes on, the fuel load comes down and it's nice, a gradual drop, and you start to get the bike and you feel, oh, that's okay. But the trouble is with the TT race, you've got 6 laps effectively. So you go from 24 litres, by the end of the first lap, you've only got 12 litres left. At the end of the second lap, you're down to nothing. So the bike stops, it turns, it's with you, it's beautiful, you're into your groove. On the end of the second lap, it's amazing. The bike it's ecstasy on the end of the second lap. And generally that's where most of the fast laps are put in as well. Most of your fastest laps are always put in after the second lap. purely for the fact that the fuel is down, the rider's comparatively fresh. You know, he's not been on it for almost 2 hours. You know, he's only been on it for 40 minutes, so he's pretty much switched on. The bike's stopping again, the tyres are all still working good. So the bike handling characteristics are constantly changing, because once after 2 laps I've come in, I get a full load of 24 litres of fuel again. The bike feels like a nail, it's a brick. It doesn't want to turn, it doesn't want to stop, it's horrible. Again, until I get a feel for the bike again, and then I can push on again. So there's all those little things on a TT race that you wouldn't normally see in any other race, and that's what makes it so unique, that's what makes it so hard to win. So going back to the first sector, this is the reason why I'm splitting the sectors up now, like I say, from the start line through to Ballycrane. That, as you could see, that was intense, completely intense. It's all happening, it's coming at you so fast. So that's why you have to have it in your brain what you're approaching before you get there. We went through probably the most important corner on the circuit. I don't know if you can remember it. We came up to Ballahutchin and we came into a place called Ballagary. Okay, now Ballagary is a super fast, it's a 5th gear corner anyway, 170, 75 mile an hour corner. But the big problem you have is, you couldn't quite see it on the television, was there's depression beforehand. There's the big compression and you drop into a dip. So as you're coming into the corner at 180 odd miles an hour, you can't see your entry point to the corner. And that's why I said to you, look for that white line on the inside by the curb. That's your key point. If I see that white line, that's when I lay the bike on its side and open the throttle. And again, that takes years. That's a 3-year corner. That takes me 3 years from coming as a newcomer to getting into a position where I can attack it and think, right, I'm going to let you have it. Whereas my first year, I'm just coming into it on a big close throttle. I'm out from behind the bubble, I'm meerkatting, looking around. Oh, there it is, and I'm back on it again. Whereas after effectively 3 years and maybe 60, 70, 80 laps around the circuit, I know what's coming so I can attack it. Okay, so Ballagary, for me, that's my most important corner. One, purely for the fact that it's such a long straight afterwards. You can see there, I didn't shut the throttle then all the way then to Greeba Castle. So that's almost 2.5 miles, full throttle at 190 miles an hour. So I need to make sure that I keep my momentum through. Momentum is the key, remember. So even if I just shut the throttle for half a second longer than I would normally, it takes me longer than, it probably takes me 5-10 seconds to get back up to that speed again where I was. So that's why it's so important. Also as well, it's one of the most dangerous corners on the circuit as well. There's been some real bad accidents there. Unfortunately, I lost one of my teammates there 1 year. Yeah, so it can bite you. Go in too early, it's going to bite you. Go in too late, it's going to bite you. So that's going to take you 3 years to get right. So the next thing is then we carried on then through Glenvine, through to Crosby, through then in towards Greeba Castle. You can see Greeba Castle again. The track dynamics change a little bit. It goes a bit darker and enclosed. You can't quite see. You can see there, that was in the middle of June. It wasn't a particularly nice day that day. But I still had my shorts on, but it wasn't a particularly nice day. You could still see it was a bit cloudy and a bit dark when you go into the trees, and that's another thing that you wouldn't normally get, maybe at Cadwell Park or somewhere like that, when anyone that's ever ridden at Cadwell will see when you go into the trees it gets a bit darker, but there's no other short circuit really where you go under trees and to the same degree as we do here in the Isle of Man. So it gets dark, remember you've got a big black visor on, tear-offs, there's a lot going on. A big problem also as well at the TT are flies and visibility. Again, you might do a short circuit race, you might get one fly in the corner of your visor just here, whereas at the TT course, by the time I've got to Ballycrane, half me tear-off's full. It's crazy because you're between the hedges, all the midges are out there, the flies, the bees, the wasps, and you're just hitting you at 180 mile an hour. They're just, it's contaminating your visor. So you struggle to see that way. Also, on race days, never quite so bad for visibility, but just remember we practice in an evening. Okay, so the whole week before you've seen that race, we've been practicing every night at 6 o'clock. We set off from the start line for approximately 3 hours, riding around the circuit. Okay, so the sun sets in the west, and that's the direction we're going into there. So on an evening practice, that's where the sun's at its worst in my eyes. So that can be a real big problem. All those little curbs where I said, like at Appledene, I said, watch that curb. The reason why I'm watching that curb is because on a sunny day, I've got to make sure I remember it's there, because I can just clip the curb and I can be in big problems. One of the last corners we came to there was Gorsley. Super fast right-hand corner again, very much like Ballagary, but you can pretty much take that flat out on a superbike, and that's a scary thought. And again, it takes you laps and laps and laps and laps and hours of practice to get to that speed, to be able to do that. But again, it's super important because you can keep your drive on then down towards Ballycrane. So that's the first sector. Now the reason why we split it there is because as we get to Balacrane, then we go through the Glen Helen section. Okay, so the Glen Helen section's all third, fourth gear stuff. It's in very, very enclosed. It's like driving in a tunnel. So your visibility is bad. Most of my newcomers don't really struggle too much with the Glen Helen section because, again, there's lots of reference points, there's lots of focal points. They can see the banks, the trees and stuff, and the houses and stuff, and so they can pick a reference point out. So they don't never feel lost. Effectively, they always pretty much know where they are. The Glen Helen section, even though it's intense, there's a lot going on there. It's quite easy to learn in some sort of way. It's once we go past Glen Helen and we go up on then onto the Cronkavody, that's when my newcomers start to get lost again. Is because they're going then back to fifth, sixth gear stuff all the way then through towards Kirkmichael, and that's going to be my next sector. So from Balacrane through now in towards Kirkmichael. Now with these sectors, what I recommend you do is, rather than, like say, just watching a whole lap, because by the time you get to Sulby, you start to lose your focus a little bit. You know, you think, oh, I could do with a cup of tea, or you know, your mind starts to wander a little bit, and that can't happen on a TT. You can't take your eye off the ball for one split second. And it's the same when you're learning the place as well. So what I'd recommend you do, I'd recommend all my newcomers for the last 15 years, I've all recommended that they split the circuit down, and just all week they'll just watch that one sector. So there's start from the grandstand through to Balacrane and just watch it over and over and over again. And it's a bit like repetitive strain injury. You know, your brain is repetitively strained with watching that sector, but it's taking that information in. That information's stored then and will never go. So yeah, so then the following week, then you'd go then from Balacrane then through to Kirkmichael. So yeah, so let's do that sector now. Okay, so through Balacrane now, leading up now up this little bit of a hill. It's quite steep up here through it now towards the Balspur here. I've had a big crash here. I just caught my shoulder on here on the left. You can see Peter stayed wide of that. Into Balspur itself, into the white line, back into number 2, back out on the exit down towards Blig Bridge and Dorrans Bend. Okay, so Blig Bridge down one gear, really bumpy now into Dorrans, really bumpy, two massive big bumps here, back on the throttle now, run up now towards Laurel Bank itself. Just don't get early, don't go early, stay out, and then come into the last apex, just there, beautiful. Over now, climb over the bike, really hard to transfer through that one, over to the left-hand side, over towards that first chevron, into the early apex there again, second early apex, Balagary being the first, there's the early apex, not many, there's only 3 or 4 on the circuit. If we run now down towards Black Dub itself, over to the right, get over to the right, open the corner up, early apex, late apex there, climb over the bike, nice compression there, hard on the power, up through now, out of the Black Dub, up towards Glen Helen itself. Fast for the first one, slow down for this one, got to slow it down. So that's positive camber, that's negative camber. Can we run now in towards Glen Helen itself? Okay, over to the white line, get over to the white line, open the corner up again, late apex. Can we drive up now? We see him catching someone now, so I'm like, get in there, really good. Into Sarah's cottage, Sarah's cottage itself, negative camber, so easy to fall off there on that camber. For this drive up Lamfell now, up towards Cronkavody, really hard transfer through that left and that right, all the way back up through the gearbox, trying to get back to 6th gear as fast as I can, and look, it just opens up here now, it's like a different planet, it's like bing, out here now on towards Cronkavody. Elbows in, knees and toes in, back to top gear here now, coming to the end of look at the end of this, another 3-gear corner, end of Cronkavody, look how fast and fearsome that is. Get the bike upright, nice little wheelie just there, lands again now, we run down to the 11th milestone, in towards the back of here now, where can I pass him, look, he's holding me up now, I'm starting to get frustrated, come on, get out of my way, do I go left, do I go right, I'm going to drive here now on the left, let's try and get him underneath, but I can't do that, it's not a short circuit, I can't run him out wide, so no, I'll just hang back here now, in towards Hanley's itself, dip the bike into the left, over underneath the wall of the back, on the right, drive it back on, back up through the gearbox now, we run down now towards the top of Bagarrow, here we go, in towards McGuinness's, curb, hedge, curb, and here we go, I've got him now from the run down now towards the top of Bagarrow, here we go, no I haven't, that Honda's fast, shit, no I can't, no, over to the right hand side of the road, back on the throttle, nice hot early drive on the exit, I've got him now, here we go, down towards the bottom of Bagarrow, look at this is horrible, the bottom of Bagarrow, look at this, stand up on the bike like a motocross bike, jump it through, big compression through the bottom of Bagarrow, we run down now towards the 13th milestone, unlucky 13, you've got to remember that. It's late apex on the entry, late apex on the exit. So there's the apex there. It's late, you see. Pick the bike up right. And this one again, don't go in early. Out. And there's your apex now. You must remember that. Unlucky 13, it's a real treacherous corner. And then another 3-gear corner. Can we drive then down now in towards Kirkmichael itself, into Douglas Road corner. So here we go, braking now into Douglas Road corner. Really bumpy. And then off the brakes. Okay, so that's the end of that sector, through then to Kirkmichael. Okay, so we've run then from Ballacrane through to Kirkmichael. You can see there again, it's full on. There's no rest, there's literally no rest. Through the Glen Helen section, that first mile and a half through Glen Helen, you can see it was very dark, enclosed in the trees. Again, you need to know what you're approaching, so again, it takes years again to build up to it. But again, like I was saying to you earlier, there are lots of different focal points that you can always pick out where you are on the circuit, so you're not going to get lost. You can see there as well, this is where the camber really starts to get involved. We had a little bit there at Greaver Castle on the first sector, but here especially, the cambers are really starting to play the game. On a short circuit, there isn't much of a camber. There are certain sections of the track, but on the TT course, you have negative and positive camber, but also you have a crown in the road, more than you would do on a short circuit. On a short circuit, the track is relatively flat all the way around. You might have a negative, a positive camber like this, but on the TT course you have a crown in the road, so the centre of the road is higher than the edges of the road. And this is what makes the bike hard to set up also, because you're in the gutter in one section, you cross the centre of the road, you hit the centre of the road, the bike goes light, and then it loads up again on the other side of the road. So the bike is always feeling flighty and loose, so you're always battling that crown on the road, okay? And it's quite pronounced through this little section here because it's the old part of the sector. It hasn't really been resurfaced, you know, lots of times like the bottom half is. That main run from Douglas through to Peel, it's quite a busy road, so that gets plenty of maintenance, whereas this little sector is quite old school through here. The cambers there, especially at the entrance in towards Glen Helen, you could see there, were quite excessive. There's two fast left-hand bends just before you get into Glen Helen. You heard me say, first one is fast, second one is slow. You cannot get those mixed up. The first one's amazing. I call it mini Daytona. It's beautiful. It's full commitment, full throttle. It's beautiful. It's orgasmic, in fact. It's amazing. You can really attack that corner. It just holds you in that left-hand side of the road, and then you're out then to the right-hand side of the road for the next left-hander. But the problem with the next one is it's negative camber. So you've gone from positive, where the bike's with you, to then go into the negative camber, and the bike just runs wide. It's gone away from you. You're trying to drag the bike back. You've got to work really hard on the front end to try and drag the bike over the camber. So you've got that, and then you're into the Glen Helen section itself, up towards Sarah's cottage. And again, that's another one. It's so easy to fall out. You can load the front on the way in. It's an uphill climb. You wouldn't think you'd ever lose the front on an uphill climb, but it's an uphill climb, it's negative camber. So you can lose the front on the entry, and then if you're too aggressive on the throttle on the exit, you can lose the back on the exit. So again, you just have to ride it. You have to feel through the handlebars, through your bum, through your feet, what the bike's doing underneath you. If you're too aggressive, it'll just bite you and down you go. So again, it's a thinking man's game. You use this, not this. So you use your head, not your heart on the TT course. That's a big thing to work out. Whereas in a short circuit, you pretty much just, you forget this and you just use this. You just attack it. Whereas you have to think, you have to always be thinking, what's the bike doing? What's the bike doing? What's next? What am I doing? What am I thinking? So again, it's a real thinker man's game, and that goes with the experience as well of the years of doing it. Then we opened up then on towards Cronkervoddy. You can see Cronkervoddy was open, big open expanse. I think I mentioned it there. It's literally like someone switching the switch on when you come up out of Lamfell up onto Cronkervoddy. It's just bright, intense. It's been so dark through Glen Helen. It's like a different racetrack. And again, then we're back to 5th, 6th gear stuff then. Down through the 11th milestone, through to Hanleys, then to the top of Bagarrow, and then the Bagarrow. Again, there's no other racetrack in the world where you've got such compression at the bottom of Bagarrow. Everything bottoms out, everything. The bottom of the fair and the sump sometimes bottom out. Unfortunately, James Hilly had a little bit of he cracked a sump through there a couple of years ago. Cameron Donald lost a race through going through the bottom of Bagarrow too much and cracked the sump on the Suzuki one year. He was leading the race and he lost the race through big compression through the bottom of there. So again, you have to ride it a bit like a motocross bike. You have to stand up on the seats. You use your legs and your arms as suspension, okay, just to soak up those bumps. And then into the 13th milestone, like I said, 13th. Late apex, you've heard me mention early late apexes. The majority of the corners around the circuit are late apex corners, which again is a nightmare because they're so fast and they're late. Your brain always wants to protect itself, so it sees a corner coming, it wants to go into the corner straight away. It doesn't want to wait because it thinks you've missed the apex. So that's another thing that takes a lot of years to get your brain round because it's a late apex, so it's effectively you're going around the corner blind. So rather than going there, you're going there. So 98% of the corners on the circuit are late apex corners. So it takes a lot of learning. So yeah, so that's that little sector. So the next sector we're going to go to now is going to be basically now, again, another super uber fast cut section through to Sulby. Now again, this is another sector where my newcomers struggle because it's so fast. Again, you have to have done it lots of times to get familiar with it and confident with it. They're all 5th, 6th gear transfers through trees, hedges. Majority of them are blind. There's a couple little niggly little corners that are in between it as well. You've got the likes of Blaff Bridge, for instance. I used to hate Blaff Bridge. It broke my rhythm. You've got 5th, 6th gear corners, and then you have to then basically slow down to 2nd gear to go over Blaff Bridge, then to build back up to 5th, 6th gear corner again. We're also going to come to, in this next sector, is my second most important corner. Okay, it's called Quarry Bends, or the Wildlife Park. And again, this is another really important sector again because there's such a long straight afterwards. So again, if I slow down too much, it's going to take too long then to build the momentum back up then to get back to top speed. Quarry Bends is a real treacherous section as well. It's super fast, it's 5th gear, really, really fast. You've got a right, a left, a right, a left, and a right. So it shows you how technical it is, and it's all on the side of the tyre. It's really hard work. Physically, you have to manhandle the bike. The bike doesn't want to turn either. Remember, these big super bikes, they're weighing 180 kilograms, if not more. 190 miles an hour, the bike wants to stay in a straight line. It doesn't want to come off that center axis. You have to work the bike off the center axis to move it. It doesn't want to turn at speed. You can quite easily shut the throttle. It loads the front and the bike will then drop in. But what do I want to do? I don't want to shut the throttle because I'm going to lose time. So it's a big trade-off. As a newcomer, you've just got to shut the throttle. But as your experience comes on and your speed comes on, this is where you've got to work really hard on the bike. And this is again why you look at all the TT riders, they're all big stocky lads, like Connor Cummins, Peter Hickman, they're all big lanky lads that can turn the bike. They can use their arms and their legs as leverage to get the bike to move at speed. Because they're not Danny Pedrosa's. They wouldn't be able, if you were Danny Pedrosa's size, you wouldn't be able to turn the bike at speed. So that's basically why all your TT riders are big, strong lads, do you know what I mean? Big arms, big shoulders, big necks. They can move the bike around. Yeah. So let's go on to that next sector. Okay, yeah, so here we go, down to Douglas Road corner into Kirk Michael. Like a funnel, really bumpy into here as well. Trying to slow it down, back to 3rd gear, let the brakes off. There's my white grid. See a little white grid? I'll spray that up just so you can know where your apex point is. Back on then through in towards Kirk Michael itself. Look at this, it's beautiful. It gives you the best sense of speed. I love this little part of the track. A little bit of a wheelie just there through Slinkern. Just into here now, yellow line. Over the bike to yellow line, and then over the bike again to yellow line again. It takes a lot of effort again to get the bike to turn. In now in towards Renkel. Look at this. Jump on the entry, 1 down, 1 gear, get in underneath the right, and don't go in too early, in now, and upright for the jump. Oh my God, it's so hard through there to get the bike upright for that jump. That's the most important. Make sure the bike is always upright. Back out through now towards this section here, Bishop's Court, through into here, into the curb, underneath the wall, straight underneath the hedge here, and let the bike drift out. The whole bike moves around now. It's really bumpy and ripply. Through now in towards Iceman's. Curb, hedge, curb. Again, the bike takes a lot of transfer into Alpine. Look at this, 2 plateaus. Down 1 gear at the plateau, over the 2nd plateau, and then drop it into the hedge. Back up through the top gear now, back to 6th gear from the run down now towards Blaff Bridge. Look at this, super fast, 190 mile an hour through this one, Balakov. Look at that, completely flat out, amazing, 190 mile an hour, braking at the 30 mile an hour signs. Oh my God, slow down, it's bumpy, in towards Blaff Bridge. Let go of the brakes, over the bump, bang, back on the throttle again, just building it back up. There's very few places in the world where a super bike feels slow, and here's one of them. The bike just feels like a bit like an air raid towel, and you're trying to build that momentum back up again. Here we go, back up now towards Balacry. This is going to make you cry. Look at this, a super fast entry into here. Bike is upright now for Balacry jump. Whoa! Biggest jump for me on the whole circuit was that one there. From the run down now towards Quarry Bends or the Wildlife Park. Stay on the right hand side of the road. 3 hedges, 1, 2, 3, over on the right, into the compression, down 1 gear. Back in now on the throttle now. Get the bike over to the left and then back over towards the lay-by. Get it over, you've got to get it over now for that late apex. And again into my white grid just there. Transferring it over to the left, over to the right. Oh God, it takes so much effort to get the bike to turn here now. Back to 6th gear, elbows and knees in, toes in. From your head on, off down now towards Sulby Straight. Look, centre of the road, I'm just looking in the distance. If I can see the back of somebody, I know that I'm catching them. I can look, I can just see someone there. Come on, I'm going to have you. But the trouble is now, he's going to slow me up now through this next section now in towards Ramsey. Okay, so I'm braking here now at Sulby Bridge, and here we go. That's the end of our next sector just here. Okay, so we've just done that section then through from Kirk Michael, then through to Sulby. you can see how fast and furious it is again. There is literally, like I said, no rest for the wicked. We had a little bit of a nice sector there through Kurt Michael. You heard me talk about Kurt Michael. As a rider, for me, that was the biggest sense of speed. That gave me the biggest hit going through there, because you're in from one side of the road to the other, you pass the houses, it feels like you're doing 300 miles an hour. For me, it felt a bit like Star Trek, you know, when he hits the hyperdrive button and, and all the things are just coming at you. It gives me the biggest buzz, it really does. I love it through Kurt Michael. It's quite bumpy, there's a lot going on through there, but the big problem you've got is that next section afterwards called Raincullen. A very technical sector, and again, another 3-year corner. Okay, it's going to take me at least 3 years to get that one sector right, and fast. You've got that fast entry at the end of Kurt Michael. Douglas Road corner on the way in is bumpy. It's like a funnel. It's really, really bumpy, and it's quite easy to outbrake yourself. Some people have been hurt there in the past by just outbraking themselves and hitting and clipping the wall on the exit. So again, you just have to make sure that you get the bike slowed up for it. Remember, slow in, fast out. That's the secret to the TT course. Slow in, fast out. If we run through the Raincullen section itself, you've got a jump on the entry and basically a jump on the exit. So the bike's loose. It's jumping around, it's fast, it's 5th gear again, so you're 155 mile an hour section. There's the camber's there as well. There's a gradient drop, a big gradient drop all the way through, so it's really, really hard to learn stuff. So that takes a lot of hard work. Again, that white line on the centre of the road between the two jumps, that's the key, is to stay on that white line. It's quite easy to get sucked over to the left, and then you're closing the line off then for that last left jump. So just stay on that white line, get on that white line, get on the white line, and then to come into the late apex to get the bike upright at the very last minute for the jump. The bike must always be upright on all the jumps. On every jump on the TT course, the bike must always be upright, okay? So it can't be leant over at any angle, because as soon as you lift off, it's going to unload and tie itself in a knot. So you have to be positive to get the bike upright on the throttle, so the bike jumps and lands on the back wheel. No front wheel landings either, really. And that's again, once we're out through the Kurt Michael, again, the track changes again into the trees again, all the way through, then towards Balaf. It's dark, it's dank, super fast. And this is again where a lot of my newcomers struggle, because they're just unsure where they are. They don't know whether they're there or on the way to Ramsey, or it's like, where am I? So if you can always remember what's next, that makes the job easier for you. So you run through then towards Alpine, which is probably the next real hard corner that we just saw there. The big problem with Alpine, it's a late early apex corner, so it's a third early apex corner on the circuit, so there's not that many of them, like I said. But the big problem with Alpine, it's the bumps beforehand. There's 2 big compressions beforehand that unsettle the bike. If it wasn't for those bumps, the corner would be amazing, be mint, but it's just those bumps unsettle it. So you've got to wait till after the second bump, after the bike settles down, that's when you can turn it. But because it's an early apex corner, you want to turn it early. So it's really, really tricky, that little section. Again, it takes you 3 years to get right. If we run through to Balaf Bridge, I talked about that earlier. I hate it. I really hate it, because it's just bumpy on the way in. You get over the bump, and again, you just wait and then to get back to top gear as fast as you can. Through Balacry, that one for me is the biggest jump on the circuit. The left-hander before it is amazing. It's literally just been resurfaced actually, only a couple of months ago, so it'll be a lovely corner now, because there used to be a bit of a patter up through there, but now it's really nice and smooth. Through Balacry, and then, like I say, into the second most important corner, which was Quarry Bends. Again, you can see how physically hard it is to get the bike to turn and move at those speeds. Again, you don't want to shut that throttle. So you just got to really hustle it through. It takes a lot of work. And then back onto Sulby Straight, elbows in, knees in, toes in. Remember, that wind is the enemy. You need to get as aerodynamic as possible. 1, for your speed, but 2, also for your physical strength. Because remember, I'm doing this for 6 laps. So if I had my head out of the wind for 6 laps, my neck physically can't take it. It fatigues me, so it slows me down. So I've got to try and make sure I get into the bubble and be as out of the wind as much as possible, just to take the strain off my body. So yeah, so that's the end of that sector. So the next sector then we're going to go to then is going to be Sulby, then through to Ramsey. Now this sector, oh my God, you ask any TT rider what's your least favourite part of the circuit, they'll say Ginger Hall to Ramsey. I can guarantee it. No one likes this place. It's literally purely for the bumps. Again, it's an old part of the circuit. Lots of the tree roots go under the road. The road's all unsettled and damaged. It's super bumpy, but again, super fast. 5th, 6th gear. There's probably only 2, 3 corners on it that you need to worry about. Again, lots of my newcomers get lost here because it's dark, it's under the trees. There's no real reference points as such. But as long as you get those 2 or 3 corners right, you're laughing. Okay, yeah, so here we are into Sulby Bridge itself. Look at this, braking really hard from 190, 195 miles an hour, basically down to second gear. Oh, slowing it down, slow it down. Late apex again, there's the apex, there it is. Pick the bike up over the wall. Now this is where the track changes completely here. There's the Ginger Hall, over to the right, into the left here. Now it's a complete nightmare through here now. It's really going to get super bumpy all the way through here, down towards Kerramore itself. Super bumpy, over to the right, off the brakes. Braking now, off the brakes, and get the bike settled and back on the throttle now to drive it through under here. Don't be aggressive, just feed it through. You can listen to Peter here, that he's just short shifting it. Waiting. The bike lands, and now he gives it the throttle. Now, here we go, back to 6th gear now. If you can get through here, 6th, you're doing a good job. So in by the hedge, in by the curb, in by the hedge again. You're just straight lining the bike through. You're not trying to take it off its centre axis. Keep the thing as straight as you can for your run burn down through now in towards this one here, in towards Glentrammon itself. Bumpy here now, really bumpy, negative camber there, real negative camber there as well. Terrible negative camber. Over to the right, in again, into my white square. You can see my little white square, that's a nice little reference point again for your peeling point. Back up to 6th gear as quick as you can through now. Through towards the K tree here now. Look, into the left-hand side of the road here, really bumpy. Again, don't take the bike off the centre axis. Keep it as straight as possible. We run through the bottom of Sky Hill. This is the bumpiest corner on the whole circuit, just there. Look at it, it's super bumpy, and it's been nice and smooth now. And then just guess what, this change at Milltown, it goes super bumpy again. We run down now. Who's this we're catching here? Oh, it's Michael Rutter. Over the bump here now. We're going to get him on the drive through now in towards Ramsey itself. Look, the bumps have gone now. It's nice and smooth now. If we run now into a Schoolhouse corner, braking here now, a little pink wall, braking now, back a couple of gears, back on the throttle, driving it through, up through now towards the square, braking out at the crossroads. There's my braking point right there. Braking hard now into Parliament Square. And that's the end of my next little section. Okay, so we've just done that section now, then from Sulby through to Ramsey, and oh my God, you can see how all hell breaks loose through there, doesn't it? It's horrible. You can see how super bumpy it was through there. Now, the problem for a newcomer is you want to go fast, but you're unsure. So the faster you go over that section, the easier it is, believe it or not. I know it sounds crazy, but it's a bit like you've seen a decent motocross rider going over a set of whoops. He doesn't go over every individual one. He literally lifts the front wheel up over and hits the back wheel on all the bumps, and pretty much that's what you're looking to do through there. Again, it takes experience, time, balls to do that. What tends to happen is the newcomer, he opens the throttle, it wheelies, it squats, it wags its head, he thinks, oh my God, this is unrideable, he shuts the throttle, it loads the front then, and then he gets back on the throttle again, so it's constantly doing this. And he's on and off the throttle, the bike's just literally tank slapping everywhere. He's coming, as well also, rather than straight lining the section as well, he's maybe coming off the centre axis of the tyre, it's unloading on the side as well. You've just literally got to have the balls to grip hold of it, get the thing on its back wheel, and effectively wheelie all the way through it. So yes, that's the easy way of doing it, but nothing's easy through, like I say, from Ginger Hall to Ramsey is a complete nightmare. Everyone hates it. The sooner it gets resurfaced, the better for everyone, I think. But it doesn't slow you down. You're still as fast as you can go. So it's not as though if they resurfaced it, it would instantly put 5 miles an hour on the lap time. This wouldn't happen. It's literally, it's just comfort. It's just, it's just so bumpy. But also your machine setup is really crucial for the TT course. And that's why, again, it needs an experienced team that's done it a few years to get the best out of it. You can't just come with a team from World Superbikes because the bike's too stiff, it's too hard, it's too braced. Generally, a superbike for short circuit has to be braced and strengthened because the tarmac is so smooth, it's so grippy that you don't want the bike to flex and move. It needs to dig in and go. There can't be any movement. Whereas on a road bike, on the TT course, because it's so bumpy and crazy, you can't have it that way. You've got to have a certain amount of flex. You've got to let the swing arm move. You've got to let the frame flex and twist and move to ride the bumps. If you literally rode a World Superbike bike here, it'd be unrideable. It'd just be completely, it'd just rattle the filling straight out of you. So your machine setup is really crucial as well because, like I say, that bottom half of the section, it's really, really bumpy, really bumpy. And now this next section we're going to do now over the mountain, it's like a short circuit. So it's dead smooth, dead flat. So you've set the bike up for the bottom half of the circuit. It's a bit soft, a bit spongy. It doesn't really want to turn. It runs a little bit wide, but at least it's rideable. You can ride on it. But then you get onto the mountain, you start to push it on over there like you would do on a short circuit. It's the other way around then. It's soft, it's stodgy, it's horrible. So it's a real compromise. You've got to set it soft enough for the bottom and hard enough for the mountain. So it's a real balancing game. So this is, again, sometimes you've got to just roll the throttle off the corners just to stop the thing from tying itself in a bit of a knot. This next climb up through, initially straight out of Ramsey, we've got quite a couple little niggly, narrow, slow bits, and for me, one of the worst corners on the circuit, which is Ramsey hairpin. Again, I hate it. Again, it's breaking my rhythm. Again, a bit like Black Bridge, I have to slow basically down to bottom gear, turn around a left-hand bend, and then get going again. But that little run through that section as well is very treacherous because it's under the trees, it's dark, it's dank, it never gets any sunlight, even in the middle of June. It never gets any sunlight, so there can be lots of crap on the road, so it's very easy to make a little mistake there. And then as soon as you get up then out the gooseneck, it opens up. But again, it's super fast. So let's go and do it. Let's have a bit of fun. Here we go now into Schoolhouse Corner again. Just down a couple of gears here now. Just watch it a little bit bumpy on the way in. Driving it through now, over towards Parliament Square. Braking now, looking at the crossroads. There's the crossroads, there's the braking point. No later than that, you'll not get stopped. So braking down, just be gentle with it. Don't be override it again, just get through it and get the thing upright. Short shift it now, back to second gear, just wait, just watch the negative camber just there, get the thing upright and now squirt it. Up towards May Hill, just up to third gear and off the throttle. Again, late apex, right into there's my little white square, there she is. Driving out on the exit, nice and smooth now, it's being resurfaced. Over to the right hand side road, back into the bumpy bit here now though. Into White Gates, really bumpy. Up towards Stella Maris, this is my favourite corner on the circuit. Look at it, it's inviting, it wants to suck you in. Positive camber, uphill, lovely. Braking now in towards the hairpin itself. Hate this one, look at it. It's like, oh my God, just get the thing round. Slowly, slowly, slowly. Get it upright, but just be careful. Don't over-rev it. Just, again, just be nice and gentle. You can listen to Peter's, just be nice and gentle with it. Second corner's the one you want. Into this one now. Into the waterworks. Slow down a little bit for the first one, for that one. Slow down a lot for this one. Back to second gear. Look, late apex again. Be gentle, get the thing upright. Now driving it up through, up towards Tower Bends. Look at this, is beautiful. Underneath the wall on the right, over the bike, but it's bumpy. One there, there's a bump there, there's a bump there. Really bumpy on the exit. Driving it through, now up towards the gooseneck. Underneath the wall on the right, back down a gear. Underneath the one on the left. Drive on, quick squirt, up then braking now into towards the gooseneck. But look, it's so easy to fall off here. Be gentle, just wait, patient, now go. Let's go, come on. Let's go now up towards the mountain. Okay, these two fast lefts. The first left's not a problem, it's beautiful. This one over towards this little tree. Now this is the one that takes all week to get this one fast and negative camber on the exit. The whole bike's a bit loose, up to the 26th milestone. Just watch this one again, roll off it, back on the throttle again. Bumpy, super bumpy as you come out on the exit. Over towards the lay-by, up towards Guthrie. Third most important corner again, because there's such a long straight after with the mountain mile. But look at it, it comes at you so fast. Oh my God, into number one. Get into number one, you have to get into number one. Back braking now, as soon as you see the right-handers, back down through the gearbox. It's Gary Johnson in front there, so I'm thinking, right, come on, I'm going to get him now up the mountain mile. Can be driving out for the exit out, but look at this, be patient underneath the scaffolding tower where the television is. There's your reference point through the Snotty Bridge. Just watch your shoulder on the wall, back out through. Done a good job of that. Elbows in, knees in, toes in, head in. Look in the distance now again, look. We're going, there's Snayfell in front of us, that's where I'm going to. The very bottom of there, so that's where I'm aiming. So I'm completely flat out now, all the way through the mountain mile. I can't even take a rest here, because it goes left, goes right, goes left. I've just got to get some deep breath. Try and relax as much as I can at 190 miles an hour, it's crazy. Okay, for the exit of the mountain mile, look at this, it's super fast, negative camber, the whole bike pushes over to the left. I've got to drag it back now for the mountain box here now. Over to the right hand side of the road, back in, it's number two that I want, just there, there's my apex. Back out on the right, to the apex just there, beautiful. Back up fourth, fifth, sixth gear as fast as I can through now. Through these little right hand, left hand kinks. Who's this braking in front of me now as well? Look, there must be a problem, he's touring. Oh, it's John, there we go. Back up through, out George's Folly then now. Coming down now into this one here now, to the Black Hawk. Bumpy there on the entrance. Bumpy, drive on into the veranda, four bends. First two are out, second two are in. So there's number one, there's number two, here's number three, that's the one you want. Number three, into number four, and now out on the exit, back to sixth gear, beautiful. If we run down to this one here, hate this one, Bungalow Bridge, hate it. It sucks you in again, it's late apex, sucks you in, positive camber on the entry, negative camber now. I've crashed just there. Broke both my toes on that one, that was real sore. Okay, from me run then down now into the bungalow itself. Don't go in early, in by the white rocks now, braking hard. Back down to third, fourth gear, back on the throttle, drive it on, get the thing upright, through the bridge, there we go, let it go. Good place for a signal board just here, just there's a good place for a signal board, you're looking straight at it. Then run now to the highest point on the circuit. So folks, as you saw, that was our last sector, okay? Basically Ramsey through to the bungalow. Again, super fast. What can I say? It's really hard section that, again, because you've got that little nadgery bit to start with, and then you open up then onto the mountain. But that mountain climb is so important. Even on these big 1000cc motorbikes, they feel sluggish. As you're driving out of the gooseneck, it feels, what's wrong with it? You think it's dropped a valve. It's like, what's wrong with this thing? But it's literally just so steep. If you ever cycle around a TT course, I like to do that with some of my newcomers as well. I'll say to them, let's go for a cycle. And if you cycle up to there, you're just in granny gear all the way up. You're just blowing out your ass. That is the steepest point on the whole circuit. Yeah, also on that sector there, it's my third most important corner. Okay, Guthrie's. It's super important, again, because you've got that drive then onto the mountain mile. Okay, so you need to make a good, clean job of the Guthrie's. It's so steep. Again, as you saw there, you've got time waiting for it to come at you. So what does your brain do? It goes, oh my God, and just shits itself. So it shuts the throttle, okay? So you've got to try and override your right throttle. As I'm coming up to there, I'm telling my right throttle, don't shut off, don't shut off, don't shut off. Just keep it on a little, not second longer, a little bit longer, a little bit longer, a little bit longer, so we can get into it, okay? So we've got 3 left-hand bends and then a right-hand bend. The lefts are okay as long as you get into that first one. That's the key. Get into the first and the second 2 will look after themselves. But it's that next right-hander, negative camber. So easy to fall off there. You can see we caught Gary Johnson in there. Gary's fallen off there. So again, pretty much that's where you know he's going to be a little bit tentative through there. But that is so easy to fall off there. Negative camber on that transfer from the left to the right, just tucks the front. Okay, so you've got to be so careful in that bit. And then up towards the mountain mile, again, elbows in, knees in, toes in, head in, get out of that wind, get out of that fatigue. Stop your head from buffering. Try and get as low as you can on the tank for as long as you can. And then up towards the end of the mountain mile, we've got the left-hander there at the mountain box. Again, it's a late apex. It'll suck you in early. There's 3 bends there effectively. You ignore the first one. You must remember, just ignore that first one, go deep and into number 2. If you get that one right, the rest of the bend sorts itself out. Really nice. Again, but on the acceleration, you've been doing 30 seconds up the mountain mile. The bike feels slow, feels sluggish. Again, just till it gets back into top gear and back up to the momentum. Remember, you're running the shortest gearing you've got here on the TT course. It's geared really lazy. It's not like a short circuit where you're through the gears dead quick. It's a real lazy gearing, so it feels sluggish. So then you're on to the veranda. Again, another highly technical section. You've got to remember where you are. Again, first 2 are out, second 2 are in, but it's number 3 that you look for. Okay, I've got some little marker boards on the inside that tells you where to go into. So you've got those little key points as well. And then onto the bungalow itself. Bungalow, you know, you're pretty much done most of the climb, and then you've just got a little bit then up towards Brandywell, but you've pretty much done most of your climbing as long as you're at the bungalow. And that's the end of our sector. So the next sector we're on to now is on the last lap. This is it, we're almost there, okay? So we're going from the bungalow back to the grandstand. Okay, we're going to be dropping down now. So that previous sector we've been climbing, this next sector now we're just going to drop right down. So the bike feels a rocket ship now. It's flying, it's ace. Okay, and it's really good as well because you start to see it's a bit of civilization. You think, right, okay, people, I actually am in a race, I'm not on my own. So we're going to drop down now. Again, first part of the sector again is really super fast off the mountain, and then you go then in towards Signpost Corner, Governors, the Nook, and that's really tricky because again, you've been going 190 miles an hour and you're down to the slowest corner on the circuit into Governor's Bridge. So we'll run through that now and you'll see what it's like. The Bungalow Bridge, bumpy, negative camber on the exit. Like I say, I've crashed just there, not good. So don't get sucked in too early. Again, go wide and the entry and late apex again, in by the white rocks. Get the bike upright on the brakes, back down a couple of gears, over the bike and back on the throttle now to drive yourself up now towards the next sector. Here we go, this is the last lap. Here we go, back up now, up towards Brandywell. Back up through the gearbox. This is the last climb. As soon as I get to the top of here, I'm going downhill all the way back to the grandstand. So here we go, through this fast right here now, over towards the white sign. I'm looking for the white sign, that white sign there on the left. Over to there, opens the corner up, back to the black and white bollards. I need to be close to those, so the apex is just there on the left. Again, you've got to drive the bike over to the right to open the corner up. Back up through now, towards the 30-second milestone. Slow down for the first one, okay, so here it comes. So I slow down for this first one, into here now, out to the white line, and now back on the throttle. There's number 2, back out through into number 3. That's amazing, that's a super fast corner, amazing that is. Breaking out to windy corner, it's called windy corner for that reason. The wind either blows from the right or from the left. Okay, so you have to know before the race what the wind's doing. It's blowing you around. There's a bit of windsock there to help me as well. Okay, so back up to top gear again, back from 4th, 5th, 6th gear, back up through now to the 33rd milestone. Again, I need to go over towards the orange sign. See the orange sign over on the left? There it is, over towards the orange sign. Open the corner up again, next to my black and white friends, over to there. Climb over the bike and back on the throttle again, through here. It's bumpy, the whole bike moves around for the through here, through now towards Keppel. Again, they get over to the left, 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 over now, over to the right now, to my black and white friends again, next to bollards. Climb over the bike, back on the throttle again, driving it out. Look, it drops down here now, spins up a little bit of a camber there, driving through now towards Kate's Cottage. Through Kate's Cottage, out on the exit again, negative camber just there, a little bit of a wheelie just here. There we go, run down now towards the Craigna Bar. Braking here now between 3 and 2, there's a braking point now. Here we go, whoa, slowing it down, make a good job of this. Slow in, fast out. Okay, so get the thing upright, and now let's go. Give the fans a bit of a wave there. Always nice coming down here on the last lap, everyone's waving and cheering and shouting, it's amazing. Back up through to the fastest point on the circuit, just here. This is it. 200 miles an hour through here now, through this little cut through here. Here we go, there we go, just off the limit, just here. And then braking now into this one here. I call this the Carlsberg corner. If Carlsberg made TT corners, that's the one. Look at that, 5th gear, late apex. It's orgasmic, it's amazing, it's beautiful. Okay, from that beautiful corner to this one here. Look at this one, it's horrible. Oh, look at this, it's bumpy, it's late apex, dark, dank, bumpy, oof. Through here now on the exit, up towards Cronknamona. 3 left-hand bends, this one here. Ignore the first one, don't go in too early, Out to the chevrons, and now go into number 2, that's the one. It's bumpy, it's like a roller coaster. It goes up, it goes down, it goes up, it goes down. Braking now in towards signpost corner. Look at this, slow it down. Off the brakes, back on the throttle now to drive it through, up towards Bedstead. Don't go in too early here. Looking for the lamppost on the inside, there's my apex point. There we go, there's my lamppost. Back out on the exit, driving it through now in towards the north. Braking in, slow in, fast out. Don't overcook this one, get it slowed up. Get in now to the end of the white line, there we go. Pick it up, driving it through, drive it to the end of the shell grip, there we go, there's a braking point, but look, watch that bump. It really unsettles the bike here now. Back to this one, horrible, slowest corner on the whole circuit, look at it, burble it now, just burble it. But be patient, down the old road, never gets used, super slippy, just wait, back to second gear, just wait, now give it a go. Let's go, come on, back up through the gearbox now, back to 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th gear, you run through over the start and finish line, and here we go. Come on, let's make the course as short as possible, into the left-hand side of the road. There we go, come on for another lap, and that's the end of the lap. Okay, so folks, that's it. You just saw the last sector there from the bungalow back down to the grandstand, and again, you can see how fast it is. There's no rest whatsoever. So you can see there, we've got some real key corners there over the mountain. You can see Brandywell's a key corner. Now you heard me saying over to the left, over to the black and white friends. I call those bollards on the right hand side my friends. I want to be close to my friends, so I want to be close to those, okay? So that corner, for instance, let's take Brandywell for instance, it's so easy to run through that right hand bend beforehand and run across the road and you've closed the corner off. And then you're like, oh, you've got to get on the brakes, slow it all down, and you've lost your momentum. Whereas if you can open up that first corner, pretty much ignore the first right-hand bend, over to the left, and then cut through to the right, close to my friends, the bollards on the right-hand side of the road, transfer over the bike, and you're carrying all that momentum through. Now, that's a crucial corner, okay? So you've got 3 corners now, just like that. So you've got Brandywell, you've got the 33rd, and you've got Keppel. They're all exactly the same way of approaching the corner, but obviously at different speeds, but they're the way you have to approach those 3 corners. But in between those other 2 corners, you've got the 32nd and windy corner. So the 32nd for me, again, it's one of the best corners on the circuit. You've just got to take the edge off it on the entry. If you come steaming into there too fast, again, you're going to scare yourself. So again, slow in, fast out. But it's 5th gear. It's still 5th gear on a superbike. It's still 155, 60 mile an hour. It's super fast, but it's open, it's beautiful, it's amazing. Okay, so into windy corner. Like I say, they've recently opened windy corner. The last, I'll say recently, 12, 15 years ago, they've opened the corner up now. So it's another gear higher. So it's 4th gear now. It's a lot more open. It's cambered. It's with you. Okay, so it's literally your enemy there is the wind. The wind's either blowing from up the Baldwin Valley from the right-hand side or up the Laxey Valley from the left-hand side. So you've just got to, again, if you were sat on the start line, have a quick look at the flags in the grandstand and see how hard they're blowing. If they're blowing hard at the grandstand, it's going to be blowing a gale up the mountain. So that's another thing that you don't get anywhere else in the world on any other racetrack. So you've got to, again, use this, not this. Okay, so you run down towards the Craig, again, super fast to the fastest point on the circuit. Again, there's nowhere in the world really where you can just flog a litre sports bike and want more. I'm wanting more. As I'm coming down towards Brandish, I'm wanting more power out of it. Okay, so I just want more and more power. So yeah, and then you've got Brandish itself, like I said, the Carlsberg corner. It's a late apex, 5th gear. What more can you want in the world? It's amazing. As a rider's point of view, that's, for me, was amazing. So you've got that one, then you've got from Brandish and then into Hilbury. Again, a nightmare, a complete nightmare. It's dark, it's dank, it's bumpy, late apex. It's still, again, on a big bike, 4th gear, it's still super fast. But it's not, you just get through that one. I never really liked that so much. I knew I could get through it fast, but never really liked it. But there's just those traps, the bumps on the way in, but as long as you're positive and drive it through, know it's a late apex, you can ride the bumps. You don't want to be loading the front on the bumps and getting into big trouble. So yeah, so the run down through then to the nasty bit at the end, the bit that can catch you out. And generally, that's where quite a lot of accidents happen on those slower corners because you've been going so fast for so long, you think you've slowed down enough, but you haven't. And then round towards Governors. Governors, like I said to you there on the video, it never gets used any other time of year. So the first half of practice week, you have to go steady through it. Just go really steady through it because there's no grip there. It's not been used. So only once the sidecars have gone through for half a lap, half a practice week, put a bit of rubber down, you know that the track's nice and clean and tidy. But then you saw the last corner. Even the last corner on the TT course has a trap. And that's that last right-hand bend out of the Governor's Bridge. You can see it's negative camber, it's uphill, there's a bump on it. If you're too aggressive initially on the throttle, you want to get over the start line, you think, I'm home now, I'm home, and you just nail it like you would do on any other place, it'll have you off. It'll literally just high side you straight off the seat. So you've got to feel that bump, get the bike upright and then drive it. Again, use this, not this. And that's it, pretty much it, over to the start and finish line, and that's it, all good. Okay, so that's it folks. That's a lap, it's crazy and it's ace. That is why it's the best racetrack in the world. There's nowhere in the world you can do that. And you can see there, for me, what made it so special was the fact that I was on my own. I wasn't in a pack of 40 other riders, someone taking me line, slowing me up, me getting in the way of them and rubbing me fairings. That for me was the best. It's just like your own personal racetrack. There's nowhere in the world where you can do that. It's beautiful, it's beautiful. So, as a newcomer, one thing you've got to remember is what's next. You've always got to remember, I've said to it, I don't know how many times in that video, that lap we've just done, what's next? What's coming around the corner? What am I approaching? As long as I know what I'm approaching, I can go fast through it or slow through it or whatever. It's when I start to freestyle it and think, yeah, I'm a good rider, I can do this. I don't know where I'm going, but I'm still going to go fast. That's going to end in tears. That's why you always have to do your homework. And I don't know how many times I have to say it, but you've just literally just got to do your homework and watch your DVDs, your videos. Just watch it over and over and over again. As long as you've got your basic map in your brain, it's just like a map on a bike, you know. If it hasn't got that basic map in it, it won't even start. It has to have that basic map. And then once that map's in your brain, that's when we can start to tune it and get some more speed out of it. So that's when we can develop it and get you going. So, but you've got to have that basic map to start with. Just that lap knowledge of what you're approaching. Again, slow in, fast out. So again, on the way into a corner, off the throttle, look at what you're coming to, and then let's go for it. Rather than rushing into it and thinking, I'll sort it out when I get there. You can't do it. Remember the late apexes as well. Always got to remember those late apexes. Know where they are so you can attack them. Most of all, the 3 things that I want from a newcomer when I meet the newcomers, first off is that you're safe, that you come back. Okay, that's the one thing that I want. That's the most important thing that I want. Okay, so I want to have a beer with you after the event. Well done, and you've qualified. You've done a good race. All good. The second thing is then that I want you to be happy. If you're happy, that's the second thing. If you're happy, the third thing comes, and that's a good result. Okay, so if you're happy, you'll go fast. If you're not happy, you'll not go fast. And that's it. So those 3 things in that order. Okay, so good luck, and hopefully I'll see you soon. Keep safe out there. Thank you very much.